As many of you know, I have been working on a rifling system for a Nerf blaster known as Merlin. Merlin is derived from the idea of a detachable rifling attachment. I have made many prototypes. I've actually sold a few as prototypes. And I have a few of these commissions to do, but it's been very tough to figure out what is the right spin rate and what is the right length for each Merlin, given a certain blaster. Now I noticed that a sharp rate in 1/2 inches is better for retaliators. Anything that has a short amount of power burst, or like a bird of prey, same thing, except it's about 9/16 spin, right hand, 1.5, real short. But when you're talking about more air, let's say a brass dual stick magnum, a long shot, an 82K, you have to go, I would say, 3 inches. Now I did 1/4 and it had spin, but not enough to really make as much of a difference as I wanted. It did definitely make a difference in accuracy, but nothing that a longer 20-inch barrel like a brass dual stick magnum could do. So I decided, a suggestion was made to actually go 3/8 spin on Death by Nerf Blaster, which is my Facebook forum. I'll put down a link in the video. And so today we're going to try to make a 3/8 spin Merlin, and I'm going to show you how I do this, okay? It's very, very interesting. And put in mind, I'm still not on the final product. I have several commissions I have to get done. It's one of those things I want to develop, but I want it to be good, not crap, okay? On this thing, air is powering the dart as it's still flying through, unlike many of your rifling attachments. But I will say this, they're only made for blasters that are about 200 feet per second or above. My recommendation, if you have a blaster below 200 feet per second, a really great company called Zakuro Mods makes a very good rifling rig that's detachable, all types of barrels, all barrel spins, everything. Very, very smart kid. Made that hammer shot, brass hammer shot turret. Oh, I mean, he's really smart, good at 3D printing, good at long shots, everything else. So a shout out to him. I think he does a really, really good job. Scar barrel, you know, it was a good leap into the direction of people actually doing it, but it's not my favorite. I'd rather have something like this, but in all honesty, I made this because I didn't have the money to actually buy one, a Scar barrel or a Zakuro barrel. And what I'm finding is I really love these a lot. They really do make them straight. So let's get into how to make one of these. We'll start by ruling out our measurements. So for example, I already have one side ruled. Do put in mind I have a difficulty. I had a stroke when I was born. So this is like kind of difficult for me, but we're going to do it anyway. I'll show you. I just might cut out the parts where I actually draw the grooves in, because it's difficult, and it's usually, for me, it's trial by error. It's tough. Okay, so we have a toolbox here. The toolbox has grooves right here. So we can take this piece of metal, and I burn an inch because that burn an inch mark is more precise than, let's say, let's say the front of this tool measure. And I'm going to go to 4 inches because I'm burning an inch right here. And I'm going to define where my, come on. I'm going to define where the end, where the beginning of the rifling is on the attachment. And I'm going to take this, and I'm going to slowly spin it. Alright. A fine Sharpie marker. There we go. I'm going to check to make sure this is pretty even. If not, I'm going to correct it. I have very shaky hands because of my stroke, and it will always be that way. I will never be able to recover. I'm going to take this and burn another 1/4 inch right here. Okay, this is the stop point. This is where the rifling actually attaches to the 9/16. As you will see later in the video, this is what keeps the Merlin together, the rifling together, and the rifling from coming apart. It would be what I would call the binder ring. This can be anywhere from 1 inch to 1/4 inch, but personally 1/4 is best because it is more precise. Now, I have these two rings. What I need to do now is I need to rule it out. In other words, I have to rule out in 1/4 and 1/8 marks since we are going 3/8 spin. Okay? So from the top here, I'm going to draw a center line on the top. Reflective shadows really help because the bands of light that come from the objects in the room really help to line up from one part of the line to the other. Also put a little divot in the front there. Now I need to take exactly this line, and now I need to take exactly this line, and now I need to put a divot right on there. Okay? With that divot right on there, I got a little bit of the line down there. Okay, I'm going to actually, yeah. So that tells me where the half line is, so I can look up here, and I got my half line up here. Okay? From that half line, I'm going to draw, and I'm using the surfaces of the light to help guide me. I'm going to put another one right there. So now I have a half line there and a half line there. Okay? Next thing I need to do is draw my quarter lines. So this, perfectly in half as so. You draw a quarter line. Then from this point here, you need to wrap it over here. Okay? And now I need to take this line right here, and I need to put a quarter line right up here. By doing this, I've now defined my, that's wrong, hold on. It's actually there. And there. That doesn't really matter much because the whole thing is gonna be thick. Okay, so now I have my quarter marks. Now I need to draw my my 3/8, my 8 marks. Boom. One on this side. And boom, one on that side. I'm then going to carry this over right here. I'm going to carry this over, and I'm going to throw a 3/8 mark right on the other side. Boom and boom. Since this is going to be a 3/8 twist Merlin, I do not have to put twists on the quarter. Okay, so then the quarter mark here, I think I'm going to go left-hand twist on, right-hand twist on this. Quarter mark here goes to here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is draw from this point to that point. Then I will flip this over. Okay, hold on. Where are we? Yeah. I'm going to go from this point to that point. Then I'm going to go from this point to that point. And by doing that, I'm going to have this. A rough sketch of what my Merlin is going to look like. So let's go and cut this out. Okay. It's very hard for a guy with a stroke to draw this. But you can see, there we are. There's our rule line right there. Okay. So I decided to draw the other side just to show you. The desired thickness is actually about 3/16, between a quarter and 1/8. 1/8 is too thin. 1/4 is too thick. But it's important on a Merlin that you have enough base thickness to actually squeeze the dart and let as less air through as possible, but also not too thick to where it won't catch the rifling grooves. You don't want that either. Oh, by the way, yes, that is a 1985 Corvette. Yes, that's not my car. That's actually my dad's. And believe it or not, it has less than 3,000 miles on it. Yeah, okay, so first thing we're going to want to do, first off, don't cut the base yet. You want to use this brass to dissipate heat. Don't let your blades get too hot, and do this slowly, a little bit at a time. Okay, cut number 1. You know, this was a good idea, but I think I'm going to go with my Dremel cutter here, because this is taking forever. I'm sure this damn thing's 1,000,000 degrees by now. Remember, any offset you have, offset it by putting more there. If you do both on both sides, it will be concentric, but you have to remember to do it. Oh, there's one side right there. As you can see, this is a little off, so I'm going to have to adjust for it. I'm going to have to adjust on both sides. So now I'm going to do this side right here, so that what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim for the center of this and roll it up. And remember, this is a circle. It will all catch up. Okay, those are my first 2 cuts right there. And you can notice how the thickness of this and the thickness of this right here. So I'm going to have to, because this is a concentric circle, I can remedy this real quick by simply adding another line right there to follow this one. But it's very important that this surface stay really intact and nice. Okay, so while I'm recharging my battery, I want to refortify this line to represent the 3/16 that I want. So here we go here. And we just color in our line slowly. We make it but in mind, I have extremely shaky hands. This exercise is not at all easy for me. Not easy for me at all. I'm going to want to undercut this a little more. So I'm going to put a little more beef here. Okay, because I'm going to when I come back, I'm going to cut this a little higher. I kind of think the slope is a little too shallow. Okay, you kind of have to eyeball and judge it, and you will probably go through a few of these attempting to get this right. This is not easy to do. Okay, and then this side right here. There it is. That's a new line right there, and as you can see, it is going to be 50-50 exactly. Okay? It should be known that this project is not easy. It is hard. Okay? I will give this project a rating of about a 9.5 to a 9.8 in difficulty. You will throw out probably many of these before getting one right. And it just takes a lot of practice. So let's begin, shall we? Once you have a good cut, raise speed. And only put your first part of the cutting wheel on there, not the whole thing. If that happens, turn it off. Remove your wheel, okay? because you don't want to nick or bend that, because that's got to stick to 9/16. That binds, same thing. There you are. The brass chews it. It's like a cat. Just let it have it. Take your time, be patient. If you bevel it like that, that's actually good, because these little areas, that glue's going to stick there. You still have your true surface of the brass, and we're going to sand all this down in the end anyway. So do put in mind, don't worry about this back side looking ugly, whatever. Just as long as it's the inside edge that we're more worried about, the part that grabs the dart, okay? Okay, so from here, okay, I think you're starting to see it. Going to make a nice helix pattern right here. And when I cut that, that's going to look absolutely beautiful. It's going to shoot absolutely beautiful too. So before I charge my battery back up to the other side, I'm doing a little fine tuning on this thing right here. This is essentially your crown, and you got to come in with a deburring tool, and you got to do that. So I'm going to go recharge this, do the other side, and then I'll show you more fine tuning with it. There it is. There's the helix. But I'll leave this for part 2. The installing, the gluing, and the fine-tuning of the rifling grooves. Now put in mind, okay, the way that this works, the reason I don't go 3 grooves or 4 grooves or 5 grooves is because the dart, what it does is as the dart goes through here, the dart goes into the lower pressure areas of the 9/16, while the 17/32 brass, which this is, squeezes it. You see what I'm saying? So then that makes the dart ovalized, and with the dart's ovalized, it actually catches the inside edges. When it catches the inside edges of the spin, it propels the dart into a twist, a spin, and stabilizes the dart and flies. That's the way a Merlin works. It works on making the dart ovalized, using the rest of the air to drive the dart. Now this is really rough and crude right now, but when we're done, it's going to be a thing of precision. So wait for part 2. It's going to be a blast. Till then, peace out.